Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is FARITH ABDUL LATIFF. My track number MA23151, and I'm going to present about Six Sigma DMAIC, which is Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. Firstly, what is DMAIC? DMAIC is an acronym that stands for Define, Measure, Analyze, Improve, and Control. It was developed by Motorola in the 1980s as part of their Six Sigma quality initiative. It is now used by companies like Amazon, GE, Toyota, and worldwide. Think of it as a GPS for fixing broken process. If your process is lost, slow, or making too many mistakes, the MIC will give you a clear 5-step road to get it back on track. So as I was saying earlier, Six Sigma, it's the MIC cycle, which is a data-driven problem solving. As I'm saying, fix the process, not the blame. The first three DMAIC cycle, which is define. Define is what's the problem, measure how bad is it, and analyze is why is it happening. The other two is improve and control. The improve is how do we fix it, and control how do we keep it fixed. So we go on to what is the define phase. Define is the most critical phase because it's an entire project direction. Imagine starting a road trip without programming your GPS. You might drive for hours in the wrong direction. Define ensure we know exactly where we're going before we spend any time or money on fixes. It's answer the simple question: what's problem are we solving? And if we get this wrong, everything else will be a wasted effort. So for the purpose of the define phase, the purpose of define is twofold. First, it acts as a bridge. We take what the customer actually want and connect it to what our business need to achieve. Second, it acts as a filter. Many teams jump straight into fixing things without checking if the problem is real or important. Define force asks us, is this problem worth our time and money? If the answer is no, we stop here and save messy resource. If it's much cheaper to plan a project now than after a month of work. For the key element of define phase, these five elements are the foundation of successful define phase. The project charter is our permission. Official permission slip to do the work, it defines scope, team, and timeline. The problem statement keep us laser focused on the actual issue, the voice of customer, tell us what people to really need, the CTQ turn those need into measurable number we can track. The CPOC act like a fan, showing exactly where our project starts and ends. If any of these pillars are weak, the entire project collapses. If we're talking about the tools that we use in define phase, firstly, we don't guess in define, we use proven tool. The project charter set the rule and scope. The CPOC draw the process in just 5 high-level boxes: supplier, input, process, output, and customer. The VOC interview capture raw customer feeling through survey, interview, and complaint. We feed those feelings into CTQ3 to turn vague statement like I want it fast into specific metric like deliver it within 2 hours. Finally, the stakeholder analysis identify who we need to keep informed and engaged throughout the project. This tool ensure our define phase is put on fact, not on opinion. So for the output of define phase, I will keep this briefly. At the end of define, we don't have any solution yet, but we have something that's valuable, which is clarity and approval. We approve charter, giving us permission to use resource. We have a crystal clear problem statement. We have a high level process map and also solid understanding of what the customer expects. So we move on the measure phase. Now that we know what problem we are solving from define phase, we move to measure. This is where we collect data to understand exactly how bad the problem is right now. Think of it like stepping on a scale before starting a diet. You need to know your current weight before you can track your progress. In measure, we establish a baseline so we can later prove that our improvement actually make a difference. Move on to the purpose of the measure phase. The purpose of measure is to turn opinion into facts. We stop saying the process is slow and start saying the process taken on an average of 4.2 days, so we can be more specific. We collect data to quantify the problem size. We identify when data is missing. We establish a baseline that becomes our starting point. Later, in the improve phase, we compare our test result. Again, this baseline to prove we actually make things better. Without measurement, we just guessing. So for the key element of measure phase, firstly, there are five critical elements in measure. First, we create a detailed process map. Much more granular than the report from defines. Second, we build a data collection plan that specifies what to measure, how to measure, and who will collect it. Third, we grant baseline data to show current performance. Fourth, we perform a measurement system analysis, which is MSA, to ensure our measurement tools are accurate and consistent. And finally, we assess processability. Can this process to show that if this process can meet the customer requirement. So with this together, the element give us a complete picture of our current state. For tools used in measure part, we have a specific toolkit for measure, such as process mapping, which give us a detailed step-by-step view of the current process. The data collection plan ensure we gather the right data consistency. We visualize baseline data using histogram, contour chart, and run chart. The measurement system analysis check if our measurement tool are reliable. The process capability analysis compare our current performance against customer specification, and or motion studies help us understand how long each step actually takes. So this tool will ensure our data is accurate and meaningful. So on the output of measure phase, at the end of the measure, we have a complete data picture, we have a detailed process map, we have a valid measurement system, we have baseline data, and we also know if the process is even capable of meeting customer need. And now we are handling this data dashboard to the analyze team so they can dig into the numbers and find the root cause. As the saying goes, in God we trust, all other must bring data. Move on to the analyze phase. Now that we have baseline data for measure, we move to the analyze. This is where we become the detective. We dig into the data to find out why the problem is happening. Think of it like going to the doctor with a fever. The fever itself is a symptom, but the root cause can be an infection. So in analyze, we separate symptom from root cause. We don't guess, we use data to prove exactly what causing the problem. This is where we find the smoking gun. The purpose of analyze is to move beyond surface level symptom and uncover the true root cause. The symptoms are visible, delay, complaint, and defect. But the root cause are often hidden below the surface, like poor training, outdated equipment, or flaw process design. Analyze force us to test our theories with data. We don't say, I think the problem is X. Or we say, so we could say the data prove the problem is X. So we get to be more specific in the next problem. This is critical because if we fix the wrong cause, we just applying a band-aid and the problem will return. The key element of analyze phase, there are five critical elements of analyze. First, we perform a data analysis, looking at chart, graph, and statistics to spot pattern. Second, we identify potential root cause using tools like fishbone diagram. After that, we conduct hypothesis testing so we can make an educated guess and test them against the data. Next, we do the validate the root cause to prove that it is a real culprit and not just a coincidence. And finally, we prioritize opportunities. We identify which root cause is fixed will give us the biggest improvement. So this can ensure us to be focused on our improvement effort where they matter most. So for the tools in Analyze, we have a powerful toolkit for Analyze. The firstly is a fishbone diagram or Ishikawa to help us brainstorm all the possible causes across category like people, process, equipment, and material. There are 5 whys. It's a simple but powerful technique. So ask why, the 5 times to drill down the root cause. The Pareto chart apply the 80-20 rule, which is 80% of the problem come from the 20% of cost. So we can focus there. The scatter plot show relationship between variable. Control chart help us understand variation in the process. Have testing use statistics to prove or disprove our theory. So this tool will help us move from guessing to knowing. For the output of an analysis, in the end of analysis, we have answer, we have verified root cause, we know exactly what the problem is happening. We have data-driven proof, so we can show the evidence to anyone. We have prioritized opportunity, which is we know which root cause to tackle first for maximum impact. We also will have a clear focus on the improve phase. So now we're handling this root cause report to the improve team so they can design and implement solution. As the saying goes, a problem well defined and analyzed is a problem half solved. And now we know that the root cause for analyze we need to improve. This is where we finally fix the problem. We generate solution, test them on small scale, and roll out the fix. Think of it like a doctor prescribing medicines. You don't give the patient the full dose immediately. You start with a small trial to make sure it works and doesn't cause side effect. So in Improve, we use a test and learn approach to ensure our solution actually work before we implement them everywhere. For the purpose of the Improve phases, the purpose of Improve is to turn our root cause analysis into action. We develop creative solution that directly address the root cause. But we don't just implement everything at once. We test solution on small scale first. If the pilot work, we roll it out fully. If it doesn't, we learn and adjust. The goal, the goal is to close the gap between our current performance and our target. We want to move from the red line baseline to the green line, which is a goal. For the key element of improve phases, there are 5 critical elements to improve. First, we do idea generation. We brainstorm as many solutions as possible. Second, we select and prioritize. We evaluate which ideas are most likely to work and the biggest impact. Third, we conduct pilot testing. We test a solution on small scale to prove it works. Fourth, we do the full implementation. We roll out the solution across the entire process. And finally, we validate result. We collect data to confirm the information improvement actually happened. So this structure approach minimize risk and maximize success. We have specific toolkit for improve. One of it is brainstorming, which generate creative idea. The solution selection metric help us evaluate and prioritize idea based on criteria like impact, cost, and ease of implementation. The pilot testing allow us to test on small scale before committing resource. And implementation plan outline who does what, when, and how. Before and after comparison chart visually prove the improvement work. The FMEA help us anticipate where what could go wrong and put safeguard in place. This to ensure our solutions are effective, efficient, and safe. So at the end of the improve, we have result. We have proven solution that directly address the root cause. We have implemented improvement across the process. We have validated the result. Data that prove the improvement actually happened and close the gap. We have updated process documentation to reflect of a new way of working. So we are now handling this solution package to the control team so they can sustain the gain and ensure the problem doesn't return. As the saying goes, the best solution is the one that stays. Moving on to the control phase. Firstly, what is a control phase? We reach the final phase, which is control. After all the hard work of define, measure, analyze, and improve, we need to make sure our improvement lasts. Think of it like losing weight. Losing the weight is hard, but keeping it off is often harder. Control is about putting system in place to monitor performance, standardize the new approach, uh, and ensure the problem doesn't creep back. This is what separates short-term fix from lasting change. So for the purpose of control is to make improvement permanent. We standardize the new process so everyone follow the same improvement method. We monitor performance over time using control chart to ensure we stay on track. We detect issue early, which is before they become big problem. We log in gain so the process doesn't drift back to its broken state. We also control the ensure that month or even years from now the improvement is still there. The key element of control phases. There are 5 critical elements of control. First, we standardize. We update standard operating procedure (SOP) and work instruction to reflect the new process. Second, we monitor the use control chart to track performance over time. Third, we create a response plan. We define what to do if performance starts slipping. Fourth, we provide training to we teach everyone in the new way of working, and we assign ownership, which is we can give clear responsibility to specific people to maintain the process. So together, this element ensure the improvement to last. If we're talking about the tool used in control phases, we have specific toolkit for control, such as standard operating procedure, which is SOP, document the new process so everyone follow the same steps. The control charts help us monitor performance and detect variation. The response plan define what to do if performance goes out of control and who to contact and what action to take. The training plan ensure everyone know the new way. The ownership agreement give clear accountability. The process update periodically check the process if it is still being followed correctly. These two create a safety net for our improvement. At the end of our control phase, we have a completely sustainable process. We have update SOP documenting the new way. We have control charts monitoring performance. We have response plan ready if issue arise. We have complete training for all the team members. We have ownership assigned. We have the problem is solved, which is permanently. We think it's celebrate knowing the improvement will last. But remember, control is ongoing. We continue to monitor and adjust as needed. This is the final phase of the DMAIC, and it actually don't just fix the problem once, but forever. For the conclusion, let's quickly recap the MIC journey. We start with define, where we clearly identify the problem and set the project scope. Then we move to the measure, where we collect the baseline data to understand how bad the problem really was. Next came analyze, where we dug deep to find the root cause, not just the symptom. Then we move to improve, where we granted, tested, and implemented solution. And finally, control, which is log in again so the problem never return. Each phase on the previous one, each phase built on the previous one, and skipping any step is failure. This is the power of DMAIC, a structured data-driven approach to permanent problem solving. And lastly, we talk about the key takeaway and closing. So, what are key takeaway from the MAIC? First is data-driven. So we don't guess or rely on opinion. We use fact and number. Second, it's customer focused. We solve problems that actually matter to the customer and not just an internal issue. Third, it is structure. We follow a clear step-by-step approach that eliminates guesswork. And finally, it is sustainable. We don't just fix the problem temporarily, we lock in the gain permanently. So we can say that DMIC transform chaos into clarity, waste into efficiency, and frustration into satisfaction. It is not just a methodology, it's a mindset of continuous improvement. And that's all. Thank you for your time and thank you.